Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry about the accent, but there's not too much I can do about it. So if I get any of the words wrong, I'm sure that you'll let me know and I can repeat them or whatever. I unfortunately don't come with subtitles, although sometimes when I'm out in stores I feel that I need to. But anyway, we'll give it a go. Really honoured to be part of this today, and clearly, although I'm new to the US in this role, it's become very clear to me, whether I'm in Asia and China or in Hong Kong, or even the previous time that I've spent with Walmart when I was in Woolworths in Australia and New Zealand, just how important community involvement is as part of the DNA and fabric of our business. As I mentioned, not from these parts, actually from a small country called New Zealand, 4.5 million people, and as I read the newspaper today, just before I came into work this morning, 29.8 million sheep. So I like to get that out early so any of the jokes can... One statistic, however, that I'm not particularly proud of in New Zealand is that 1 in 4 children come from a single-parent household. What's surprising to me is that I found out in the US it's even worse. It's 1 in 3. So inspiring, Felicia, to hear your story. And one of the great things about my job is I get to travel around parts of the country and meet all kinds of people, customers, associates. And Felicia, it never ceases to amaze me how I run into people in Walmart who inspire me to get up early in the morning and work late at night and weekends, because what you've done is just really, truly inspirational. So thanks for sharing that with us. It was really personal. It was just fantastic. Thank you. And, you know, it was mentioned to me previously that Helen Walton started this many years ago, and 30 years ago, and once again I just continue to be impressed by what I see in terms of what the Walton family do. I actually had the opportunity to spend some time with the family about a week and a half ago talking about our business, and I can tell you that their interest is obviously not just in terms of how the business operates, but most importantly how we treat our associates and how we treat the communities in which we operate in. And it's pretty inspirational for me from a little place in New Zealand to have the opportunity to do this job and to do it in a framework where it's more than just what the profit is at the end of the quarter or end of the year. It's actually how you do it and how you treat people. I've got no doubt, and I mean this sincerely, I think I got a hard job, but I reckon the hardest job in the world would be being a single parent. Trying to juggle everything that you have to do. I've got a few people that help me get through my day, and Mary Lockridge, who worked next to you, Felicia, for many years, is one of those people. But when you're a single parent, you're on your own. Over the last 20 years, over $6 million given, over 8,000 scholarships. Those are pretty impressive statistics. And many of you have helped make that happen. When I was talking to Catherine, who helped me prepare for this speech today, I said to her, well, can you tell me some people who are Americans who are famous parents? I know some people in Australia and New Zealand, but tell me some. Elon Musk, you know, the entrepreneur, got PayPal going, but of course more latterly in the news with Tesla, with the car and now the battery and potentially a high-speed train which you could drive your car on that can get from San Francisco to LA, single parent. Michael Phelps, the Olympic swimmer, Angelina Jolie, President Obama and President Clinton, both for a period of time came from single parent households. And it never ceases to amaze me that in life a bit of adversity taken the right way often makes you more successful. And I think there's lots of examples of that, and there's just a few. Some of you may be surprised to know that I was a single parent, so I actually have 3 older children in Australia, second marriage. But when I separated from my wife, we were living in Australia at the time, I can vividly recall the, moving out, getting into a flat, doing all those things, apartment that you do. And I said to the kids, well, I'll tell you what, come round on Sunday night, I'll cook dinner. I don't think I'd cooked in 20 years. So anyway, I thought I'd better put on a decent show here, otherwise they're never going to come back and see me. So the irony of this story is that at the time, I was looking after 1,000 supermarkets across Australia and New Zealand for a company called Woolworths. For the first time in my life, not only, I just couldn't walk into a supermarket and walk around and pick things up, I actually had to do the shopping. So I can vividly recall Sunday afternoon turning up at our store in Mossman, and obviously a number of the associates in the store knew who I was, and they said, "Are you doing a visit?" I said, "No, I'm just here to do the shopping." So I get the trolley or the shopping cart and off I go around the store, and I've got a recipe list with me. And I was astounded because I didn't know how to cook. I had to have a recipe. How many items I couldn't buy. And I had no idea what I could substitute if I couldn't get this particular item. Anyway, I navigated that, cooked a meal. Fortunately, the kids have continued to come back and see me, and I didn't poison anyone. But what was more interesting is what happened on Monday morning at our management meeting. Because normally, you sit down and you've got your head of buying and your head of real estate and your people looking after logistics and HR, and you tend to be operating at, 30,000 feet and what were the comp sales like, and you might break it down to a region or a district and tell me some departments. Well, the first thing I do is reach into my pocket and pull out my shopping list. Why didn't we have any rosemary? How the heck was I supposed to make hamburger buns when I couldn't get this particular ground beef? And on I went. And I can tell you, my team sat there and they went, "What's happened to him? What's going on?" The interesting thing is that it actually has made me a much better retailer, because I now, when I go into a store, actually look at things to a level of detail that I would never look at. And so once again, the story plays out. You go through a bit of adversity, you have the right attitude when you go through it, and you turn it into a strength and a positive aspect. So it's been very useful. A little bit about our business. As I've said, I'm pretty honoured to have this job. Never ever thought I would end up in Arkansas, even though I many years ago became aware of Walmart. Just to have this opportunity is astounding. But the business continues to change, and I was talking to some of our ex-associates down here, and we were chatting about the business just before. The things that are obvious to you and me, speed and convenience, things just go faster, don't they? And that's not going to change anytime soon. Time's valuable, and people want a really easy shopping experience, and that's been one of our challenges with big stores. It's great you can get everything you want, but gee, you better make it easy to get in and get out. And if they're not well run, and they're not in stock, and they're not clean and tidy and fast, it's not all that convenient for customers. And you ask any single parent what they want, and that's pretty important, because time is pretty valuable to them, and money is obviously pretty valuable. So we better make sure that we as a business do that well. When Sam opened the first business here in Rogers, I was interested to see, this is back in '62, as you know, only 9% of US households were single parent. And of course that number today is more than tripled. And you probably also realise that with about 4,500 supercentres and neighbourhood markets, there aren't all that many places in America where people can't get to a Walmart store. So when you're doing 140 million people in your stores every week, the chances are that we are serving lots of single parent families. So we've got to make it easy for them. and I can assure you that is top of mind for us. So it's more than just pharmacy drive-through, which we've been at for many years. I just got back late last night from spending a couple of days with our GEC business, so the global e-commerce business up in San Francisco, San Bruno, and working with the team there. I probably spent, in the last 6 weeks, I've probably spent 6 days up there working with them, because it's now such an integral part of our business. Not only can you go into a Walmart store and buy sort of about 120,000 different items in a supercentre, or 35,000 in a neighbourhood market, but you can get about another 7 million if you turn on your mobile phone and get on Wi-Fi and order it online and send it to the store. So all these things, I think, play into the theme of what we're about, but also play into the theme of what this lunch is about, which is making life easier for people whose time is pretty valuable to them. One thing that I am proud of is what we've done for our associates this year. And I think that's a really good move. And I can tell you, being part of those discussions and decision, and being actually in the room when we made the decision, investing $1 billion for your associates is a pretty big deal. But boy, it's the right decision. When I go into stores, and it's not a question that I would ask. I wouldn't stand in front of associates and say, I'll often ask them about their family, and sometimes people will tell me their family situation, but most people would not say, gee, I'm a single parent, or divorced, or separated, or something. I couldn't guess how many of our associates, but you would have to think it would mirror the statistics around the world. So to give them an increase in pay, whether you're a starting wage or whether you are a department manager, is a big deal, and I can tell you it is a big deal. Now, it's not a big deal on the west coast of America, where there are already higher wage rates, but you get into Jackson, Mississippi, or you get into Nashville, or you're in Devonport, Iowa, where I was last week, or Indiana, where I was also last week, and I'll tell you, it's a big difference when someone who was maybe earning $7.35 working in a Walmart store is now earning $9, and we're going to move that to 10 next year. And I feel good about that, and I know that the family feels good about it, the board feels good about it, Doug feels good about it. It's a good thing. Other things we're working on, giving people flexibility when they work. Boy, as a single parent, wouldn't you love that? To be able to pick your roster, do that on a mobile device. So we're rolling that out, better training, and also continuously looking at benefits. I know, you know, that when we invest in our associates, they pay it back to us. They pay it back to us through better service to our customers. We run better stores, we run better e-commerce businesses, and the virtuous cycle works for us. To close, and the quote is very good in terms of what you shared, Felicia, and it comes from Nelson Mandela, who was a bit of a favourite of mine. Interesting life that he led. Everyone can rise above their circumstances and achieve success if they are dedicated and passionate about what they do. And I think that applies to a whole bunch of people. It's a hopeful message for all the single parents that you support. They're dedicated to succeed, and they are passionate about their kids. They want a bright future, because who doesn't? And they need all our help, all your help to succeed. So you all make a difference to single parents in our communities. You support families when they need it the most. You identify with the needs, whether it's childcare, whether it's paying for gas or tuition, school supplies. All those things are expensive. I know, I now have 4 children. Single parents need that, they need you. They need all of us to do our part and support them. So thank you for what you do, and thank you for having me here today.